So if I had to give myself one piece of advice for the Artist-in-Residence program, I think, when I came in, I had these plans and I kept myself very strictly to I must produce this for the program and didn't give myself a lot of wiggle room. So I think one of the biggest things I would have said was, you have this proposal, you don't have to stick to it so tightly. Give yourself room for other events. I think that there were times that I just ended up doing so much that I could have really benefited from maybe making a few less things, just not producing so much, or feeling that it was necessary that I produced so much. The other piece of advice that I would have given myself was quit your job sooner. And I wish that I had a little bit more work starting the program. I wish that I had made a little bit more product to have for sale. I think that a lot of people came in very interested in knowing how they could support the work, and I didn't give them a lot of avenues for that. I just said, here, look, I make pretty things, look at them. Here's my business card, and I don't have a space online for you to buy the work. You have to reach me directly, or I have 3 scarves hanging in the studio, where it would have been I think a bit more proactive for me if I had 20 scarves in the studio and 10 scarves available through online partnerships. And so just having produced a little bit more work, but I know that I tried very hard before I got out here, so figuring out how to give myself the advice of invent time, that would have been interesting, trying to figure out where to allocate that time. I don't know, I'm so satisfied that I think there's something about the idea of saying, give yourself advice that feels like, what do you wish that you had done differently? And I'm just so extremely fulfilled from this year, and I'm just so grateful for everything that happened, the way that it happened. Everything was just so organic in the way that connections were made and the flow of people into the space, that I couldn't have planned any of that. And to give myself advice to plan for it, I think maybe would in the long run be counterproductive. So the idea of not knowing what to expect, I think, is the best advice, is expect nothing. Expect the unexpected. I think there's a laundry list of things that I'm going to miss. I think the hardest part is going to be walking away from the employees. I've never had an experience where I walk into work and I know that across the board everybody else who's walking into work is happy they're there. They might be having a little bit of a trouble with their job that day, or they might have your regular grumble, oh, my boss said this, whatever. At the end of the day, they're all fighting for the same cause, and they come together. And I've never been in an experience before where everyone cares. When you walk down the hall, and if there is a straw wrapper, anyone that works here will bend over to pick it up. Everyone is committed to the hotel. And because the Artist-in-Residence program is an extension of the hotel, therefore everyone is committed to me. When I hear employees talking to guests in the hallway about my work, when I hear guests walking by talking about it, and then an employee turns around and brings them back in, or if an employee comes in with a compliment that a guest gave them about my work, they are all involved in what I'm doing and in my creation process. And from a strong business person's perspective, they are the most important marketing strategy that an artist could have. But sentimentally and on a personal level, the individual support coming from a staff of over 400 people, it's an army. It's an army of people that believe in you, and every day is a good day at work. So I mean, I don't mean to say that I'm going to miss the whole thing as sort of a lump, but all of what it encompasses, I think is really tied into the support of the staff and the commitment from the staff. So I think that the most difficult part about leaving the program is that I want to write a thank you letter to everyone. And unfortunately, I will forget a name and I'll leave someone out. And if I was to list everyone, and I've never been in a situation before where when I say everyone, like thank you everyone, I mean everyone. Every single person who's on staff at this hotel has come into the studio, or I have said hello, or the interaction has just been so deep that there's no way to thank them for everything that they've given me over the course of the year. And because I have to leave and question whether or not they know how grateful I am and how strong my gratitude is, then there's this angst of I don't want to leave, because if I leave, it just feels like I'm just leaving. The act of leaving feels like I'm walking away. And yeah, I'll come visit, but there's just it feels a little bit like I'm abandoning them by leaving. It's just the course of the program. I have to leave. So I think that I'm going to miss that, and that's also sort of wrapped up in what the hardest part about the program is, it ending.